Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is John Shoemaker from the Department of Educational Technology, and we are so excited to have you here this morning for Khanmigo Teacher Tools, What's New? This session will also be repeated at 10:30. It's a different link in ELM, but just so you know, it will be the same session at 10:30, so you can join one or the other, and then also share with your friends to join us at 10:30. So with that, we're going to get started. We got a little bit of housekeeping. This is a little different from Google Meet if you've never been here before. We're streaming live on YouTube, so you should notice the chat box is over there on the right hand side of your screen, and that's where you're going to interact with us. You can ask questions, you can interact with your colleagues. We're asking you to share where you're from, what you do. Also, please look down below and hit that like button, and feel free to subscribe to our channel, because that will allow you to get notified whenever we go live or we have other videos for you. And I'm not sure if we have any moderators in the chat, but if we do, they'll have a little wrench next to their name. But please use that chat to interact with one another. That's what we're here for, to try to get as best information and ideas from you as well. And so with that, I'm going to introduce Tamsin from Khan Academy, who is going to take it over from here. Hi, Tamsin.
Hi, John. Thank you, everyone. I am Tamsin from Khan Academy. I'm so glad you guys are here with me today. I appreciate you taking the time to come and learn with me. I am a previous teacher from Palm Beach County School District, as well as an administrator in the district level. So I am so appreciative of your time, because I know how limited it is. So let's get started. We, as I said, I'm your professional learning specialist with Khan Academy, and we do have Elizabeth, who is the district success manager. She deals with all things data related with the district and the implementation of Khan Academy. We also have your Khan Academy and Khanmigo district support by region. So if you have any people you'd like to reach out to with questions that are focused on Palm Beach County and the implementation, these are your people. And we are going to get into the teacher tools and all of the updates. There have been a lot since the last time I've done an elementary PDD day. And so here, what I'm going to do is show you a few from each category, and then I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and play with those tools. So if you do have an extra screen or your account's open, you're able to go in and play around with these tools, and we're going to give you time to do that throughout this session. The first thing that's been updated is the co-editor toolbar, and this applies for all tools. So before, you were able to highlight something and ask Khanmigo. Now you have 3 different categories. The first one is this pencil, and it says make changes to this. So you can, that's going to open up a little text dialogue and say, and you can type, hey, translate this into another language. You can say, I need this to be more rigorous, stuff like that. Try something different. What that's going to do is it's going to just replace it with something else automatically. And the last one is discuss this. It's one of my favorites. It's actually something that I think is not utilized as much as it could be. What this will do is it's going to open a chat in the side and give you a ton of information as to why Khanmigo chose that. So I'm going to go in here to a lesson plan that I have and show a quick example. So here's a warm up. If I highlight this warm up, I can highlight it that way. You can also click on these bars on the side. If I click on discuss this, it's going to open up the chat on the side with Khanmigo, and it's going to give me a lot of background information on exactly why this was chosen as the warm up for this lesson. This is really great for when you have a new teacher or a substitute teacher that's coming in and might need a little bit more background knowledge, or maybe you just want some yourself as to why was that chosen? This is a great feature that I think a lot of people don't realize is there. So that's the first thing, and that goes with every tool in here. You're going to see this updated co-editor toolbar. The first section I'm going to go in and update you on and let you play around in is the planning section. In the planning section, our lesson plan has been updated. So I don't know if anybody's gone in and looked, but I want to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to point out here a little bit of some notes. So the first thing is now you have the option to choose the type of formatting you want your lesson plan to be created in. This was not an option before. So if you want a 5-part, and it gives a little example of each, the 5E, UDL, so that universal design of learning is a big one. And then the last part is now you can choose, because our lesson plans are very detailed. You can say, well, I just want a quick outline, or I want high detail. So you're able to see, kind of customize the output that you get from our lesson plan generator. And the next one that kind of goes with lesson plan, but also with exit ticket, you're now able to export these two into Google Slides. So this is new and a great feature, but I want to point out that when it exports to Google Slide, especially when it comes to the lesson plan, what it's going to do is it's going to give you a slide deck that is focused on what students would need to see. So here's an example. I opened one for you right here. This is an example of a lesson plan that I had created with Khanmigo in the teacher tools. And everything that's going to be displayed here is actually what students need to see. There's nothing going to be teacher directions or things like that. It is literally meant for anything a student would be seeing. Here's our class discussion, analyzing a text, connecting it to real world. Here's your think, pair, share. Then another activity, keep going down, and all the way at the end would be your check for understanding of your exit ticket. This could be something that you could post in Google Classroom for students to work on independently or have as notes and side by side. Lots of different ways you can use this, but this is a nice feature that you're going to see in our lesson plan tool. And you can also do that with exit ticket, and it'll just be 3 slides for the exit ticket. It'll be one that looks like this in the beginning with the title. It'll have the exit ticket, and then the last one will be you did it. All right. And so in order to find these, because you guys are going to get to go in and play around, to get in when you're in your Khan Academy, there's a few places you can access them. You can click on Khanmigo at the top and select teacher tools. You can select view all over here or Khanmigo tools. So I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 minutes, and I want you to focus on the planning tools. Go ahead and look at those new features that I just told you about, and we will come back in 2 minutes. All right, so I see that. Thank you, John. Feel free to share something you found in the planning tools section that you like. If you have any questions, let us know, and we can pull up your question on the screen. So those were the updates for the planning section of our Khanmigo teacher tools. The next very exciting update, I mean, it's not even an update, it's like an extra bonus add-on, to be honest. If you've gone into our create section of our teacher tools, you will notice Blookit generator. So I am someone who knows Blookit from the I'm a parent and my kid uses it side. And I know my kid loves playing it, although he tried to get me to play with him and I really didn't understand why I was feeding toast to cats, but he loved it and he learned. So I'm going to show you that we have now integrated Blookit generator into our Khanmigo create tools. So what that looks like, so when you're in your tools and you see Blookit generator, You're going to open it up and it's going to ask you to paste in a standard. I always suggest when you paste in standards, making sure you're copying and pasting from either your scope and sequence or whatever you use, not the numbers with the ELA and the symbols, but with the actual text. And then coming over here and pasting that in, and this will then open up and it'll create questions for you. So let me show you real quick what that looks like. So in Book It Generator, you're going to select your grade level. You're going to click a topic, and then here's where you paste your learning objectives. But here's the cool part. You also have options to like focus on certain things. So maybe you're focusing on figurative language, but you really just want to hone in on the simile and metaphor, right? Because those are the ones maybe the kids are getting confused on. You can put that in here. And this really cool part at the bottom, overall instructions, it says, here's an example, phrase the questions in Jeopardy format or talk like a pirate. I did one where it said, I put in with a bunch of fifth graders and I said, make sure it rhymes Dr. Seuss style. And not only did the questions rhyme, but even the answer choices did. So it was really cute, a nice way to get it kind of tailored to your students, something you know they're interested in. I've seen people do it where I talked about referencing Pokemon or football. And so there's a nice way to tailorize this when you're in there. Once you do that, this will open up and you'll get the option. There's like a deck of cards. And if you like the question, you can add it over here and it'll be listed down here. And if you don't like that one, delete and a new one will pop up. All the questions will be listed down here. You click export to Bookit and it's going to come into Bookit for you here. You can sign in and create away. So that is a nice little feature that has been created in our account for you. The next one I'm going to point out is our multiple choice quiz. Now, there's been a couple updates. I'm going to save the best for last, but one of the updates just to the multiple choice quiz generator is now, instead before we just had like the topic and the standards, now you can actually select how you want your answer choices. We used to only give you A, B, C, D. Now you can have 5 answer choices, or you can even choose true or false. And that is a new update that we've had. Now, another tip, if you notice here, it says paste a text into the notes section with the phrase use this text. Someone asked me recently, well, I want to use it, because our other questions generator is the one that's meant for using a piece of text to create questions. This one is based on just a standard or a topic. And someone says, well, I want to put in a text and have that text be used to create the questions. And so I learned and played around with it. If you put the text and paste it right in here and say, use this text in the notes section and paste the text in, it will create multiple choice questions for the text that you put in. So it's a nice little tip that I helped discover for someone. The next one that has been updated is our rubric generator. So I don't know if anybody's played around with the rubric generator. I think it is absolutely fantastic to be able to create one that quickly, but it did ask a lot of time-consuming questions. So it has changed a little bit. So what you're going to see is the same kind of format where you kind of put in the information as all of our other tools. Before, it was more like a chatting back and forth, answering questions with Khanmigo. So here you'll be able to put in your grade level and assignment description. Here you can have up to 7 key competencies that you want to add in your rubric, or you can leave it blank and Khanmigo will give you suggestions and you can keep clicking, adding another here. The next part is the performance levels. So you can select if you want 3, 4, or 5. And these are the different performance levels that it will be when it makes your rubric. And then finally, it has overall notes. So you can say, use simple language, make sure that, this is included because I want to make sure it's something students are being assessed on. So you have all of these options now with our rubric generator. The last part, which was always a common thing that people asked for, is that you now can export this as a table. Before, when it was in the chat, you kind of had to copy and paste. Now, when you're in here, you'll export it to wherever you'd like it to be. And it does export as a nice table. You don't have to worry about copying and pasting anymore. All right. This is one of our much bigger features that is going to be a game changer. So All of these tools, the multiple choice quiz, the questions generator, and the exit ticket, are now exportable as a Google form. It's huge. This has been asked for.
Happy to help.
It has been asked for. And sorry, my Google decided I was talking to it and I wasn't. So I'm going to kind of go into this in a little bit of depth because it's a game changer. So I have let me go into one of my quizzes. So this is a quiz I created, a multiple choice quiz. And once I created it, I actually used a video in Khan Academy to create it, which is something you can do. It links that video here. When you scroll down, you will see the answer key. So I always like to double check and make sure everything looks good. And then when you export it, you're going to click on Save to Google Forms. I have one here that I already did. So I already exported it. It will ask you to log into your Google Drive. Now, once you're in here, you can take certain things out. You can put more descriptions. But what's really nice, if you click on each question, it already filled in the answers for you. You do not have to go in and put in the answers. It is done for you already. Everything is automatically created as required and giving it 1 point. You can then go in if you want and click on the answer key and add any answer feedback. So a nice feature in our tools is when you are creating, let me go into here, any of these questions, you can come over here and chat with Khanmigo and ask for provide answer feedback for each wrong answer choice. So over here, I'm going to have Khanmigo create that for me. And there's 5 questions in this one. So now I'm going to scroll back up to the top. So put the question, and for one, right? So here's the first one, the second one, and all. It says whether it was correct or if it's not correct, why it was not correct. So what's nice is you can then take that and go into add answer feedback, and you can put incorrect answers, paste them here, and correct answers and paste it here. And now when students are answering these questions, they can get immediate feedback as to exactly why that answer choice was correct or why it was wrong. So a nice little, extra bonus for students when you're working with them. The other thing that I love is if you go in here to settings, you will see it is already made as a quiz. You do not have to turn it into a quiz. It is already made like that. And then of course you have your regular Google form options below if you'd like to tailor it to your students' needs. Again, this is for the multiple choice quiz, the questions generator, and the exit ticket. Is there plans for kindergarten? When it comes to kindergarten, I think you're referring to, let me go back into my documents. So when you're in here and I want to create, say, look at generator. When it has grade level, it only goes to first grade. So my suggestion when people have asked me that about kindergarten, start it with the first grade, and you can go down here into the additional notes and say, keep in mind, these are for kindergartner level students. Okay, students in kindergarten, something like that. You could put that in the notes and then make sure when you're looking at it, if it needs to be adjusted, you can just chat with Khanmigo over the side like I did here and say, hey, I need these. You can highlight it and say, I need these to be taken down to a kindergarten level. So it's in there. It just doesn't have the drop down, but that is on the list that we've given to the team to know that they could, to have an update. So it's a little bit more tailored to our younger students. All right. The next thing I do want to point out when it comes to exporting to Google Forms, if you use Google Classroom, one thing you want to make sure you do is when you create to use this quiz that you just created, when you create an assignment, don't click create quiz assignment because it's going to automatically put in a blank quiz, and you don't want that. You're going to want to click on just assignment and then title it and give your instructions. And when you go to your drive, it'll right here is the one that I had, the ratios. It'll be right here for you to hit add it. And now it's already in. Okay. And it'll import grades, which, you know, with Khan Academy, we don't export anything, but because it's now exported into Google Forms, it'll import the grades for you in your Google Classroom. So just a little tip that I noticed when practicing with this with other teachers. All right. So what next? We have, oops, sorry. Okay. Okay, I'm going to give you some time to create in the Khanmigo teacher tools. We went over the Blookit generator, multiple choice quiz, question generator also is exportable, the rubric generator, and these are all things that you can play around with. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to see what you can create. All right. So if you want to put in the chat, what were you able to create? Do you have any questions about creating? I know it was a quick little couple minutes, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask and feel free to keep creating. I'm going to go in and show you something that you can do while you're in here. And I'm going to go back and show you exactly the whole process. Someone created a Blookit. Very good. I'm going to go in and show you this whole process of a kind of a unique way that you can go in and make a bunch of things all using Khanmigo teacher tools that are related. So I'm going to click on teacher tools, and I would like to start by creating an informational text. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to be doing third grade. I feel like it's kind of in the middle. And I can give it a topic. So if I want to correlate this to maybe what we're learning in science, so I don't really know what they're learning in science, but we're going to say planets and atmosphere, something like that. Okay. And then I'm going to go in here and I have the standards up here for Florida Best ELA. And I'm going to copy this, identify the central idea, and explain how relevant details support the idea in a text. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to give additional instructions. Make sure the text includes, I'm going to paste that here. Get rid of this. Includes a central idea. And I'm going to take this, explain how. And relevant details that support that idea in the text, right? So I want to make sure it's going to have that because that's what we're going to be focusing on in our standards. And I'm going to go with 300 words and click start. I see Yesenia, you created a class newsletter. I love that. It includes the emojis right off the bat. It is a game changer in terms of time because it is very, very fast. So here is my text. So we have planets and atmospheres, informational text. I'm going to go through this, make sure I like what it's talking about. And then in here, making sure it has the central idea, I am now going to take this text. I'm actually going to delete this part and this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole text, I'm going to copy it, And I'm going to go in and I'm going to use it to create multiple choice quiz questions. So like I showed you that tip earlier, I'm at create. Now I'm going to use that text with a multiple choice quiz. So it's going to ask me to search for Khan Academy topic. I can put in central idea, but at the bottom of the list, it allows me to provide my own context. So I am going to click that. In the notes, I'm going to select use this text to create the questions. And I'm going to paste the text here, which all that's now in. I'm going to go back and get my standard about identifying the central idea. Paste that here. Third grade level, I want 4 answer choices, and I'm going to do 5 questions. Okay, so now these questions are based on that text. We have question 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have our answer key down here. I then can go and export it, save it to Google Forms. And now I have a text I can print out for the students or put into as a PDF because I can always export it. So if you were in the text, you could export it to as a PDF or you print it. And then I can give them this multiple choice quiz questions in a Google form by exporting it here, saving to Google Forms. Another cool feature is I am going to chat with Khanmigo over here and ask, you can always ask like I showed you for the answer choices and why the feedback for each one. But I'm also going to ask, what are some scaffolds I can provide for my ELs? Okay, so here, Khanmigo gives me some interesting things I can do to support my English language learners with this multiple choice quiz. So here, the thing is it says offer sentence starters, right? So, oh, that's a great idea, but I don't want to create the sentence starters. So I'm going to say create the sentence starters so that Khanmigo creates them and I don't have to. So I'm using the suggestion, and now for each one of these, okay, it's giving me a sentence starter that goes with each question. Another suggestion, it said, where was the other one? Bilingual resources provide materials in both English and the native language. Khanmigo can translate this whole thing into any language for you. But I do want to put in, I love looking for cognates. So cognates are things that sound the same in the language as in English. For example, Spanish, information, información, it has a similar sound and when spoken, but they're different for every language. So if I can say provide the cognates in Haitian Creole that are in here, so that can help your students kind of pinpoint those keywords that are in this quiz, see planet, and it kind of has that similar sound and pronunciation. You could also do that in the text that we created for your students as well. All right, so now I'm going to go out of here. We made a text. I made multiple choice question generator from it, all based on a standard. If you needed to, you could come in and take that same text and you could chunk it. So maybe your students need it kind of like broken down. What's really nice about chunking text is it will take, I don't think I have it pasted, so let me go get it again. You can always find any of your documents under the My Documents tab. So here is my informational text. I'm going to go in and copy this text. And now I can paste it into the chunking text tool. Here is my text. The topic, the title's right here. So let me get rid of that. Put it here. And I want chunks for comprehension. What's nice about this tool is when it's taking the text and chunking it, it gives little mini like main ideas, like a little like this is what Earth's atmosphere, this is what this paragraph is going to be talking about. So it kind of really takes it for students who might need an overview of what it's going to be about and kind of like break it down into smaller parts. It will do that by giving these nice little headings for each of the sections. So that's another thing you're able to do in our tools. And lastly, I'm going to come over here and I can create an exit ticket with the context in which we just created. So if I go back into 3rd grade and say my learning objective was central idea. Now I can have an exit ticket for my students before they leave to make sure they are understanding the standard of identifying central idea. Here it gives you, before I want you to become a detective on a small piece of paper, please answer the following question. What is the central idea of the text we've read today? Write down one detail from the text that supports it, okay? If you don't like these questions, you can always highlight it and say, try something different, and Khanmigo will rewrite something else for you. All right. And that is one way that you can kind of take all of these tools and use them together in a creative way to make sure that they're able to have all of the things that you're creating that are standards-based that go along with each other. Oops, let me get back over here. So another thing I pointed out, I don't know if we showed you, but it was kind of quick. If you want to know where all these things are stored and where to find them, you can come under here and it says, where are all of my Khanmigo creations? You can click on my documents here, resources, right, and my documents, or you can get it right from the drop down on Khanmigo. You will see my documents. And this is something that is an update. It's been a while, but it's a newer update, but it's important for you guys with your reflection activity. When you have, and John is going to explain all this at the end, but when you have the reflection activity, you need to share a copy of what you create. When you're inside any of these tools, click on share at the top, and it will give you a link that you can copy and paste wherever you'd like. What's nice about this is if you created something and you wanted to share it with your team, you can copy that link and email it to your team, and they will be able to get something that looks like this. It'll say view only for them. If they want, they can just export it and do with it that they like, or they can make a copy and it'll open up right again in their Khan Academy account, and they can chat with Khanmigo on the side to kind of tailor it to meet their students' needs. Another way, you don't have to go in to your actual document to share it, and I'll show you this live, but you can click on this little sleeping snowman right here and click share to get the link. So I'm going to go into my documents right here. And here is, I want to share that informational text we created right over here on the right. If I click on this sleeping snowman and click share, I now have a link that I can copy and paste and share out to whomever. So that is important. You will need that for your reflection activity for today. So are there any questions so far that I could answer? We're at kind of like the halfway point for anybody that is looking at some of these other tools or anything they created and needed some support with. All right, so I don't see any thank you, Ms. Moretto. I think it's great as well. It's just a game changer, and everything in here that's created is educational based. It's based on our content, and if we don't have the content for it, it's using vetted sources like .gov, .org that you're not going to be getting something that's, you know, it's going to say magical fluffy unicorn, right? All right, Jessica has a question. In creating a lesson plan, which is the best format for I do, we do, and you do? That's a great question. So let's go in here to our tools. And great. So I'm in the wrong one. Plan, lesson plan. So they do give you little blurbs about each one. To be honest, I haven't been asked this question and gone and diving into this, but I can look into it a little bit further for you. But my first thing that comes to my mind is definitely the universal design for learning, because that's where students are going to be engaging in a way that's hands-on and project-based and just kind of giving them that, you know, I'm going to show you, but now I need you to show me and show me how you learn best, right? So if it's math and I need to draw it, it's okay that I draw it, but maybe the person next to me needs to use manipulatives, right? But they're still like, I'm showing them, and that they're then reciprocating in how they learn best, right? That's just from my understanding of universal design for learning. That would be my suggestion. I think a lot of our lesson plans, even from before we had this format, is kind of based on the I do, we do. You're going to see a lot of class discussions and your turn and independent activities. So another thing that you could even do is when you're in there and you chat with Khanmigo, you can say, and you come down here. Let me see. Let me go into just find something. Just do ratios. When you're in here and you create it, I'm going to do an outline. You can always come over here and chat with Khanmigo and say, make sure you add the I do, we do, you do component of this lesson plan. And Khanmigo will make sure that's in there. If you don't find it in there, you can say, is there an I do, we do, you do component to this lesson plan? Again, I just picked some random content. But here it says, yes, here's how it breaks it down. So it actually broke it down from here that it was created and shows me exactly where the I do, we do, you do. Like I said, it more talks about direct instruction, the guided practice, and then the independent practice. Great question. All right. So I don't see any more that came in. The next thing is, this is a little chart that is also in the EdTech website that you guys can utilize. When you're chatting with Khanmigo, like I was just doing, these are some things you can ask, like, hey, I like this, but I need you to simplify it for my English language learners, or show another way I can teach that. Or, hey, break that down into steps. And if it breaks it down into steps and it's not enough steps, ask it to do it again. Say, break it down even more. So these are just some prompts you can chat with Khanmigo on the side to kind of help you learn how you can tailor it to your needs and your students' needs when creating these things in our teacher tools. The last place that I'm going to go into and have you guys look around is you can also do all of this, like I just showed you in that last example, using Khan Academy course content. So what does that look like? When you're in, I'm going to close this out. When you're back at your home page, on the top left, you'll see this little Explore tab. And when you click on it, it's going to give you a list of all of our courses that we have available that are free and for you guys to use. So maybe it's something, if you're in 3rd grade and you have the Florida Best Aligned and you want to create something with the content that's already there. So I'm going to go down, since it's probably should be somewhere around here. Let's say area and perimeter. And let's go into creating rectangles with a given area too, just for pretend. So maybe there's this video. So I like this video. I want my students to watch this video, or we're going to watch it together as a class, but then I want them to have an exit ticket that goes with it. I want to check that they understood. You can create an exit ticket right from here, a lesson hook, maybe do both. Like, let me hook them on this first, and other tools that are available on the side. So I like discussion prompts. So I'm going to say, okay, I want to be able to have something that goes along with this to make sure they're understanding. It will fill in everything for you. You just click start. And the nice feature is that it's going to give you a bunch of different options. Okay. So if you don't like this section, you might like this section. But again, you see, you always have this little purple bar where you can go over here and adjust accordingly, or you can open up Khanmigo on the side and chat with Khanmigo about it. I'm going to hit the back button so I can get back to my video. Another thing I can go back and create is an exit ticket. These are all automatically saved into your documents. So here it already had everything filled in. Now I have that video. I have my discussion questions while we're watching it. And now I can export this into Google Forms, and I have a quick exit ticket for students to do on their way out. So it's a nice little feature to be able to use with our Khan Academy course content. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a few minutes to play around with our course content, see if there's anything in here that you would like to try and create something with. For our math folks, and it's coming up to the end of the school year, we do have these Get Ready For courses. They're really great for students to be working on key skills that they need to make sure they have before they go into the next grade level. And that's for math. And we do have language arts over here, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And even some Khanmigo for students, which is over here. Khanmigo for students, so students can learn about Khanmigo and how they can, learn about AI and what it is, right? So there's some things in here you guys can click around in. There's early math, pre-K through 2nd grade, you can click on. So go ahead and take a few moments to go into our course content and see if you can create a teacher use the teacher tools to create something alongside of that course content. All right, how did it go? Does anybody have any questions? Anyone want to share in the chat what you were able to create, what you found interesting, or maybe even challenging, I can help you with? And just as a reminder, when you're in here in your Khanmigo teacher tools, you can go to My Documents and you'll be able to see everything you've created. So even here, these quick exit ticket discussion topics, I didn't have to save anything. It's already right here. And you will need to make sure you know where this little sleeping snowman is so you can share and copy the link for your follow-up activity that we are going to discuss in a little bit. So if you guys don't have any other questions for me, I might be able to end a little early for you and give you some time back to your day, which is a huge gift. And I'm happy to give that to you. The last thing I do want to say is thank you. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I appreciate you and for your dedication to your students and openness to new ideas. Head it over to you, John.
Thanks so much, Tamsin. We appreciate it. Before we go, we have a couple of things that we can share for you. First, you joined through ELM, and so if you need the points, please feel free to go ahead and go back into ELM, and you'll be able to make a copy of the document so that you can get in-service points for this session. In addition, all of our trainings are located on our website, that edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. We have all kinds of trainings, synchronous and asynchronous, that are available for you. So please feel free to join those. Again, we have another session of this happening at 10:30, but we also have some other sessions, this afternoon. This afternoon, we have a Google Gemini for educators and a Canva session from 1 and then another one from 2. So those are all in ELM. If you just search for Google Gemini or for Canva. If you've never used Canva before, it is a game changer. It's mind-blowing, the things that you can do with your students in there and get their creativity going. So please feel free to join us on our upcoming trainings today. There's also a Google Vids training that I believe starts at 10. So you can also join that one as well. That's going to teach a new feature inside of your Google Drive called Google Vids. It just came out a couple of months ago. So So asking about in-service points, you're just going to go back into your ELM course, how you got here by clicking on the launch link. There should be another module underneath of it for the in-service point. So, and it'll tell you exactly what it needs for you to go there. We also would love to have you sign up for our mailing list. We send out an email maybe once a month, maybe twice a month, not very often. But the mailing list will allow you to get most up-to-date trainings that we're doing. We have done some paid trainings as well after school that we announce through our mailing list and also through the superintendent updates. Don't forget to follow us on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And we love to amplify your voice on there as well. And so if there are no other questions, doesn't look like, we want to thank you all for being here. We appreciate your time, and please feel free to reach out to any of the team members if you have questions on anything educational technology related. So have a great day, everyone. Thank you.